For this week's edition of Realist History, I want to talk to y'all about U.S. imperialism in Asia. Okay, this is a very, very important topic given the current status of global affairs, with the United States of America still maintaining its dominance in terms of economics and military strength. However, China's here. China has the second biggest economy in the world. Okay. In today's lesson may scare your ass a little bit when you think about, damn, China probably remembers some of the shit we did to them back in the gap. And they may want some get back. That's why it's another important reason for us to keep our shit together and not be on the fuck shit that we own in this country right now. Okay? But we're gonna learn all about that and more. But before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am your homeboy first, and this is the realest, most entertaining show in the game. Put it on something. Again, hit that subscribe button, y'all. Hit that like button, hit that share button, put all you people on it. Also, feel free to join the channel so you can enjoy all the rights and privileges like other members of the channel. You feel me? But let's not waste any time, goddamn it. Let's go ahead and get straight into this. All right. Let's get down to business. All right. Today, we're going to examine the causes and consequences of the Philippine insurrection. And ooh, boy, that's a motherfucker there. Just wait till y'all hear about that. All right, we're going to analyze the effects of the open door policy, and we're going to describe how the United States dealt with the rising power of Japan. Okay? And y'all know this history now already without me teaching you. Y'all know we're going to have major smoke with Japan. Okay? Come World War II. But I don't want y'all to be thinking that shit just came out of nowhere. All right, there was shit going on leading up to that conflict. All right, but let's go. All right, some of the key terms and people we're gonna handle in this particular section. All right, insurrection or rebellion or revolt, guerrilla warfare, form of non-traditional warfare, generally by small bands of fighters. William Howard Taft, future president, appointed governor of the Philippines in 1901. Okay, we've talked about his domestic policies previously, but what you're gonna hear about him in this section again was not when he was president. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right, sphere of influence, zones in China that gave European powers exclusive access to commerce. John Hay, U.S. Secretary of State, who asserted the quote unquote open door policy in China. Boxer Rebellion, 1900 revolt by secret Chinese societies against outside influences. Open door policy, Secretary of State John Hayes, policy of opposing European colonies and spheres of influence in China. Russo-Japanese War was a war launched by Japan in 1904 to remove Russian influence in China. This war was settled by Theodore Roosevelt in the Treaty of Portsmouth. All right. The Gentleman's Agreement allowed Japanese children to attend public schools with whites in California, while Japan agreed to limit immigration to the U.S. I'll explain that thoroughly, y'all. And the Great White Fleet, 1907 world cruise by an armada of U.S. battleships to demonstrate American naval strength. All right, so those are our key terms and people. Our big question for this section is this: how did the United States extend its influence in Asia? Okay, it reads: America's decision to keep the Philippines helped expand U.S. influence, compete with European colonial powers, gain Asian markets, and extend American culture to the people of Asia. Imperialism in East Asia brought greater power and wealth to Americans, but it also increased political tensions in Asia. Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. Following the Spanish American War, the United States decided to retain possession of the Philippines. All right. Remember, Spain used to control the Philippines. Hold on. Let me not assume y'all know where the fuck the Philippines are. Okay. That's a mistake that some of us used to make. as teachers, assuming that our students knew where all these goddamn places were. Okay, let's do this world map here. All right, find China and then start looking below China, kind of like diagonally. Okay, and you'll see the Philippines. Okay, over there to the right, you know, and coming on down, you'll see the Philippine Islands. I'm gonna show y'all on a another map. Let's see. They can kind of make it bigger for you. Find my old map of Asia here. All right. Oh, all right. Now, so find China, cause that's easy. All right, and then kind of look down and to the right, and you'll see the Philippines. All right, so Spain, which is over in Europe, in Western Europe, okay, once had control of the Philippines. All right, we learned previously that they lost control of the Philippines as a result of our victory in the Spanish American War. And you know, we forced them to sell us the Philippines for $20 million, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the cost. But the Filipino people were thinking, okay, the Americans are helping us fight. You know, when we get free, you know, we can just be cool with America and shit. We gonna have our freedom. Wrong, wrong. That ain't what happened. All right, America chose to keep the fucking Philippines, and that pissed the Filipino people off. All right, as it reads. This angered Filipino nationalists like Emilio Aguinaldo, who had fought aside the Americans to oust Spain. Aguinaldo used guerrilla warfare in an organized insurrection against the United States. So guerrilla warfare, that's, you know, sneak attacks and shit. You know what I'm talking about? They knew that they were not rich and powerful like the American military, you know, so they ain't try to fight heads up. You know what I'm talking about? They try to do sneak attacks, hit and run, and that shit can be very, very, very uh, successful. You know, we gonna talk more about that shit when we get to Vietnam, when we get to the war in Afghanistan, war in Iraq. You know, that's the kind of shit our soldiers were facing, and that shit can be devastating, really, because you never know where the enemy is or when the battle gonna kick off. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what they were on. They were like, man, fuck y'all. We ain't want to be under the United States. We want to be free. You know, they were saying we didn't want to be a part of a part of the Spanish Empire, nor the American Empire. We wanted freedom, and they didn't get that. All right. How did we respond to that? Let's see. The U.S. reacted with brutality and racism. Villages were burned, and suspected quote unquote insurrectos shot. One commander, General Jacob Smith, even told his men, the more you kill and burn, the better you will please me. Let me read it to y'all again. This motherfucker told his soldiers, the more you kill and burn, the better you will please me. Y'all better stop thinking motherfuckers in the military just be going there marching and shit. Y'all think they just be marching and saluting and all that kind of shit and running. No, these motherfuckers are trained killers. That's what they get paid to do. Kill people. You know? And some of those missions ain't fucking good, man. It ain't. And that's just the real of it. It continues. Brutality was defended in the American press with racist statements such as, they must yield before the superior race. And they talking about white people. They ain't talking about Americans as a whole. They talking about white people. This is just some fucking racist shit. No other way to explain it. Just some fucking racist shit, dog. Here's a picture from that time period. Okay? It shows you how the American government handled the Spanish insurrection. Now, if I ain't tell you what the fuck we talking about, you'll think this is a picture from the motherfucking Holocaust. No, it ain't. This is from the United States government, United States military responding to The Filipino insurrection. These motherfuckers just wanted freedom in their own country. Just the facts. And to be specific, this picture is from the Jolo massacre. You can find more about that, in your spare time. All right, let's go, y'all. In 1901, the insurrection ended and William Howard Taft was appointed governor. Taft censored the press and jailed dissidents, but he also established a healthcare system, staffed schools, built roads and bridges, and extended limited self-rule. So, I used to ask my students, which one would y'all want? Would y'all want the healthcare system, the schools, the roads, the bridges, all that kind of shit? Some limited self-rule in exchange for just shutting the fuck up and letting these folks do what they want to do? Or would you have been one of these dissidents? Talking about, would you have been one of these motherfuckers in the press speaking out? It's a tough decision, when you think about freedom versus life or death. I know most motherfuckers be trying to act like they so gangster and they just be like, give me liberty or give me death. But then when it's time to be on that type of time for real, it don't be like that. Tough decision for people, man. I know my people face that decision since we've been here in America. It's tough. But that was the plight of these folk. You know what I'm saying? And William Howard Taft was overseeing this shit. And like I said, he would go on to be president of the United States from 1909 to 1913. Okay. All right, let's go. In 1899, China was being exploited by European powers. Britain, France, Germany, and Russia each carved out spheres of influence or zones in which they enjoyed special access to ports and markets. U.S. Secretary of State John Hay announced that the U.S. expected equality of treatment for commerce in China. This open door policy guided future U.S. actions. So look at what it's telling you now. Don't think about China as the China today, okay? China is big in terms of land mass. China got a hell of people, the most people on planet Earth, but China was not powerful in the same way you think of China today. Okay. So that's why it's telling you these European powers were exploiting China. You know what I'm talking about? Carving that bitch up in terms of setting up shop, kind of like dope boys be carving up a city and like, okay, this is my trap, woo, woo, woo. I'm gonna get money here, you get money over there. We good as long as you don't come on my motherfucking turf. You know what I'm talking about? But you doing it in somebody else's residential area. You doing it where you don't fucking live here, and that's what this was. So this map kind of shows you, it says colonial powers carve up China 1850 to 1910. All right. And the green there stands for, represents where the British had their sphere of influence, like orange and yellows represent where the French was setting up shop. The red represents where Germany was setting up. Japan was in on the game as well over there. So the purple represents them. You see, they had Korea on lock. You know what I'm talking about, and had them a little piece off in China as well. And you see like I don't know what you call that, salmon, I guess. I don't know. The pinks. I'm gonna call them motherfuckers pinks and shit. That represents what Russia had. So you see all these fucking countries, man, up in there getting money, and the Chinese didn't like that motherfucking shit. But somebody else didn't like it either at first. And that's the United States of America. Because notice I ain't saying nothing about the United States had shit on lock. So that's what the whole open door policy was about. The open door policy was the U.S. Secretary of State John Hay said, hold on, what the fuck? We looking in, we on the outside looking in, and we see all y'all getting money, and we're like, no, fuck that. We need an open door to China our motherfucking self. We need to be able to come up in here and get money with y'all too. You feel me? See how they just leaving the Chinese out this shit. They're like, man, fuck y'all. Y'all just here, but we make money here. Y'all just live here. We run shit here, like Alonzo said on training day. And of course, the Chinese didn't like that motherfucking shit. So that brings us here. In 1900, Chinese secret societies began attacking foreigners and missionaries. A multinational force from the US, Europe, and Japan put down this Boxer rebellion. The Chinese government was forced to pay for damages done during the rebellion. This raised nationalist anger and contributed to a 1911 revolt against the emperor. Okay, it eventually took 20,000 soldiers, including 2,000 Americans, like these marching through China's forbidden city to put down the Boxer rebellion. Look at this goddamn street shit. This is some street shit, y'all. This is some street shit. Look at this. Okay, you telling me these folks, let's go all the way back. These folks, these outsiders gonna go into China, basically carve that bitch up in the spheres of influence, zones in which they gonna be getting money. You know what I'm talking about? You got the Chinese get pissed about that shit and start attacking foreigners. And then you got the foreigners say, hold the fuck up. Hold up. You gonna let us get this money. We gonna get this money. And they send troops to put down the rebellion. 20,000 troops showing up in your hood to make you shut the fuck up and take this. Boy, you ain't telling me this ain't no street shit on a global scale and it's all legal. Ain't that a bitch? All facts. If you're new here, I don't write these slides, y'all. This ain't first coming up with this shit. Historians wrote this shit. These slides accompanied the textbook that I used to teach out of. Okay? I just deliver the goddamn shit in a real ass way to you. You feel me? Facts are facts. So I want y'all to keep that kind of shit in mind now. As China continues to rise, they got history textbooks too. They are being taught about shit like this too. We better think about that motherfucking shit. Okay? We better stay number one. We better. Let's go. All right. Japan also opposed European interference in China, especially by Russia. And this led to the Russo-Japanese War. So let's talk about that. In 1904, Japan attacked a Russian fleet at Port Arthur in China. The resulting Russo-Japanese War was resolved by Theodore Roosevelt at a conference in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Okay. In 1905, Roosevelt was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his role, demonstrating America's new stature in the world. Now, let me remind y'all what Roosevelt looks like. Okay. So Theodore Roosevelt, Republican president, progressive Republican president from 1901 to 1909. Okay. Came into office after William McKinley, his predecessor, was assassinated. Okay. And so that's what we're talking about here. So he was able to bring both sides to the negotiating table and get them to stop, stop the war. And he got a Nobel Prize for that shit. You know what I'm talking about? So that made America look even better on the world stage. Like, hey man, look at me. Y'all see how Trump trying to act like he's stopping all these goddamn wars around the world. You know what I'm talking about? Well, this dude actually was successful in his attempt. You feel me? Let's go. All right. Anti-Asian prejudice, especially on the West Coast, disrupted relations with Japan. And here's an example of this. All right, when the San Francisco School Board banned Asian students from attending classes with white students, Japan was insulted. Roosevelt negotiated a quote unquote gentleman's agreement in which the school board removed the ban, and in exchange, Japan limited immigration to the US. So, I know when we think about segregated schools, we always think about black people being segregated from white people. But as you clearly see here, racist white people did not want anybody else going to school with them. Goddamn, you feel me? And Japan was insulted by this shit, you know. And so Roosevelt didn't want that tension, goddamn it, like that over this issue. And so they negotiated an agreement. You know what I'm talking about? He said, okay, they can go. The Japanese Americans who are here, you know what I'm talking about, or the Americans of Japanese ancestry who are over there trying to go to school with the white kids. Okay, we'll let them go. But in exchange, y'all gotta stop sending these motherfuckers over here. Stop sending this men over here. That's what the agreement is. Crazy, ain't it? Crazy. But see, it makes me think about this as well, though. Think about all the hell that black people have caught in this country since 1619. And I think part of it stems from during that time there has not been an African nation of enough wealth and military strength to speak out on our behalf. You know what I'm talking about? And like make these motherfuckers do right by us. You like in you know, in like a situation like this, where Japan, the country of Japan, pissed off that motherfuckers of their ancestry in America getting mistreated. You feel me? Like, imagine if Nigeria was a top 10 country in the world in terms of its economy and military strength. And they could speak up on our motherfucking behalf for the bullshit that be going on over here in America. You know what I'm talking about? That would be dope. That would be dope. But let's keep going. All right. President Roosevelt reminded the world of America's rising military power by sending the Great White Fleet of 16 battleships on a world cruise in 1907. Again, this is straight street shit. I'm telling you, that's what it is. We talked about America getting the money during the industrial age, okay? They got the money. We became a rich nation and shit. And what do street cats do when they get the money? They clip up. They clip up. And quite often you see them on Instagram and shit. They have the money, they be doing a little spread and shit, and then they show their guns and shit. You know what I'm talking about? They want everybody to know that I got this chopper, I got this stick on me. You know what I'm talking about? I got that motherfucking, what they call a switch. I got these switches on me. Showcasing it. Letting everybody in the hood know don't fuck with me. And that's exactly what the fuck we did. That's exactly what this country did. They sent the motherfucking Great White Fleet around the world to show the world, hey, dog, we got it. Not only do we got that money, now, hey, we got them things too. Don't fuck with us. Don't play with us. We here. We here. Straight street shit. Straight street shit. But that's it, y'all. We knocked out another one. Okay. Let's go back over these key terms and people real quick. All right. So we talked about insurrection. That's just a rebellion. Okay. That's a rebellion, a revolt. The shit you saw them motherfuckers doing on January 6th, that shit was a fucking insurrection. Yes, it was. Hell, and all them motherfuckers should be in jail right now. But them people over there in the Philippines, they were doing an insurrection because we were colonizing them. You know what I'm saying? We were colonizing them. So that's why they were rebelling against being colonized. You know what I'm saying? All right. Guerrilla warfare. Just think sneak attacks, hit and run, shit. Non-traditional type of fight. It ain't just no two armies lining up against each other and banging it out. You know what I'm talking about? This different. You know what I'm talking about? Sneak attack, hit and run. All right, William Howard Taft, you know, he was appointed the governor of the Philippines. I remember I told y'all he would also go on to be president of the United States from 1909 to 1913. He was a Republican. All right, sphere of influence, that was these little zones or areas in China that these foreigners, particularly European powers, had carved that bitch up and were basically setting up shop in China getting money. You know what I'm talking about? John Hay was the U.S. Secretary of State who was like, hold on, where the fuck we at? When it comes to China, we want to get up in here and get this money too. And therefore he implemented the open door policy, saying, you know, we want equality of opportunity up in this bitch. We want to be able to come up in and get money in China as well. You know what I'm saying? We want to take advantage of the Chinese market as well. All right. Boxer Rebellion. That was just the Chinese rebelling against all these fucking foreigners in their country, and their rebellion got put down. You know what I'm talking about? I told you 20,000 troops, including 2,000 American troops got sent over there and told them folks, shut the fuck up. We finna be in your country and get this money. All right. Open door policy. I just talked to you about that already. Russo-Japanese War was a war launched by Japan in 1904 to try to, you know, make Russia not be influential in China. You know what I'm talking about? And then Teddy Roosevelt had to end up negotiating a peace treaty between those two countries, and he ended up getting a Nobel Peace Prize for that. Something Donald Trump covets so much. Oh God, He wants a Nobel so goddamn badly. All right. Gentleman's agreement was an agreement between the U.S. and Japan. Japanese, excuse me, Japan got pissed off that Japanese children over there in California were not being allowed to go to school with white folk. You know, this racist segregation shit. You know what I'm talking about? So they were pissed about that. And so Teddy Roosevelt struck a deal with Japan, like, okay, cool, we'll let them go to school with the white folk as long as y'all, you know, limit how many y'all sending over here. You know what I'm talking about? And that was the so-called Gentleman's Agreement. And the Great White Fleet. That was a 1907 world cruise where we sent these battleships around the world. America sent battleships around the world showing off like, hey, bro, we got this Navy. Don't fuck with us. We here. Okay. All right. But that's another one. I appreciate y'all for being here with me on another edition of Realist History. You feel me? These are the most trying times I've seen in my life. They are. And I lived through 9/11, war in Afghanistan, war in Iraq, Katrina, the Great Recession. I lived through all that shit. And this shit different. We have to educate ourselves, y'all. We really do. So I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. And I appreciate y'all for watching. I'm trying to speak this shit in the plainest terms possible. I'm trying to just make it plain for you. Okay? Well, a nerdy motherfucker can understand this shit, and street cats can understand this shit. I want everybody to be able to understand this. Okay? Because these are dire times. All right? But I appreciate y'all for viewing Realist History here on the Realest, most entertaining show in the game. Put it on some. I appreciate you watching. I think you'll enjoy these other videos too. So check them out now.